Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend Diane Franklin. She's coming on the podcast today to have a chat, maybe comment on this quarantine situation during the coronavirus. And she was originally going to come on the promote a con appearance, which obviously is canceled now. But I'm always excited to have Diane back on. You know, she was my very first guest. This is going to be her 6th appearance. I've had her on a record of 6 times. That's more than anybody, I believe. Yeah. Oh, no, actually, my 7th, I think. This is her 7th. Let's see. I had her on once in 17, 3 times in 18. That's 4. And 2 last year. So, yeah, she's been on 7 times now. And I'm excited about it. So, here is my new interview with Diane Franklin.
Hello.
Hey, Diane, welcome back.
Well, thank you for inviting me during the unbelievable pandemic that is going on.
Oh, what a clusterfuck we are in right now, huh?
Unbelievable, unprecedented. I have to bring this up because it is the once in a lifetime moment that I'm coming back on the show, and the idea of this happening, we're in it right now so deep, and it's like days that are supposed to be right now the biggest, and this in maybe a half a year it'll be all gone and done, and it'll be a memory, and it's like having a war, but you're just waiting and waiting for something like the bomb to drop. Like you're just sitting and waiting, and the feeling is so real, and we're sharing it with the entire world. It's like global misery, like global fear. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, I just have to bring this up because it's crazy.
Well, it's funny. I talked to, with somebody about this earlier today, and my thoughts on it is that this is like part 9/11 and part reboot of that old show V. It's it's just insane. I mean, you go outside, no one's out, the skies are all clear, but you're waiting for like a UFO to land.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you're waiting, and then the things that we used to think. Okay, so like I'm just going to say some of these things because it is such a moment in time. Mm-hmm. It really felt like this is the kind of thing that people are going to maybe go back and listen to. Is everyone's experiencing this differently. But I do think that obviously the shock of the quarantine for so many was like, well, we're quarantined, but not a lot of people weren't necessarily taking it seriously. More and more people were taking it seriously, and at first I think people were like, is this real? Is this happening? Is this overblown? And that was like the first reaction of everybody going through it. And then then people were starting to take it seriously who were more susceptible, sort of. So let's say if you had, I have, my lungs aren't that strong. Like, if I get sick, I go right to my lungs. Like, I go from, a cold to bronchitis, not even, sore throat. So I have to be more careful. My husband is over 60, so we were in the more just, watch out group. And so we went right to using masks and gloves, and we used bandanas at the start. We were educated on the type of covering up you had to do, and so we would go to the market or whatever, and do stuff at the beginning with that. Right. And people weren't wearing any protection, and now you go out and it's mandatory and it's requested, and the California governor is requesting it's mandatory to have protection for everybody, and so you're walking around and you don't even. I think the thing for me, which was fascinating, was we all had this normal life, and then suddenly you're walking around. When you are around people, you are automatically avoiding them 6 feet. So people are veering away from you, smoothly like a dance, mm-hmm. and with these masks on. And, once in a while you're waving across the street or you're saying hello to people from far away, but it is the norm. This is the norm now. So and to me, like you saying, like this is like a war that is we know that there's no bombing or no enemy. There's no direct enemy, but yet everybody is. It's almost like it's like being in a movie. It really is like being in a movie. It's like if I told you, okay, you're going to act out this role, and we're going to make you have to be quarantined to a house, and now go through the emotional ups and downs of that experience. So it's almost like you could act that out as a film, and you wouldn't need any, bombs or explosions or anything on the outside. All you would need was like quiet and social dynamics. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have a friend. I have a friend who's Jewish. Her mother was in the Holocaust, and she's having deja vu all over again with this, from post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, I mean the other thing too, like the food rationing and like the things that aren't available anymore, and you have to wash your hands touching anything, mail and I mean seriously, like you have to. As if you're, you touch poo, and you gotta like clean your hands. Everything you're touching is like I can't touch anything because I just touched my mail, and I've got to wash my hands. And you have to have the mentality of self-preservation, and the only people you can be close to are the people that you live with. And what is that? Like we're, who like our daughter and son, our son is in Chicago right now.
Mm-hmm.
He can't come visit, but our daughter, she is not living at home with us. She is staying with her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why she's not is they were going back and forth doing a lot of stuff because she was editing and she was, shooting with her comedy partner too. And so they were just moving and doing too much. We're like, you can't come home because you could get us sick. And she's like, I totally get that. And it was so sad. Thank goodness for Facebook and all, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like even the people you're close to, you kind of have to make a decision. Like, are you staying or are you going to be going out and in,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry I just had to bring this up because it is, I feel like it's really important for, and look, I'm in the older generation, but like all the different generations that are going through this, and like the kids, these are like, they're almost like they're war babies, they're going to understand, something that I think a lot of the millennials may not, which is doing without, what that feels like.
Yeah.
It's not an inconvenience, it's like a survival thing. But I think it's, in a way, it's good for the whole world because, I think that the one thing that this has done, which has never happened in the entire history of our planet right now, is the fact that this is almost like an alien invasion and it forces the world to bond.
Mm-hmm.
And so when these kids or when people, they want to connect with people in different countries, they'll be able to talk to them about this, which is, there's very little that we have in common with everyone in the world. And to be able to say, hey, like, remember when we went through that pandemic and what was it like for you? And that's huge. So although people talk about, they might be fighting and whatever, there's always going to be that. But what is it that we all have in common that we agree on? And that is going through this experience if we're all have gone through it. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm just rambling on, but I think it has to be talked about.
I agree. Yeah, no, you're just perfect. You're hitting it right on the nail there. I think that it's going to be devastating financially to a lot of people, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be good for us because in the last 2 decades that since 9/11 happened, the whole world, not everyone, but a good deal of them have become selfish and greedy and not kind or humble or compassionate. And I think this is going to help it a little.
I think you're absolutely right, and it certainly it forces those who live a life of whatever distracting or maybe object focused. It just gets everybody to stop and connect with what they feel, and maybe what you feel isn't so good, but you know what? You need to get it out, and we're all human, and I don't know. I will say this, as an actress, it has affected me in a lot of ways, and I'm just bringing this up because I think it's, some people may not realize it, but like as an actress, you go on auditions, and you can't go on auditions anymore, and there are, you can do online auditions, which is great, but obviously production has stopped. And the other aspect of it is that I used to do conventions, and I'm really, really glad that I've done conventions for so many years before. I knew it when I went on the conventions. I was like, you know what, this isn't forever. You never know. And so now, I know a lot of people love conventions. They want to go to them, and so people can't go and like enjoy that connection. But we all now, whoever did go, is going, oh, I'm so glad I went to that. I'm glad I met that person. Like they have, maybe photos or pictures or whatever they have to enjoy while you do have this quarantine time. So that's one aspect of an actor's perspective.
Well, the people who always complained about the autograph prices, they're pretty happy about it, I'm sure.
right. Now they're going, oh, I want this,
Yeah.
I will say, so there is some production that's up, and what's happening now is I know animation is being done because everything can be done, in their home, in people's homes. And Olivia, thank goodness, I'm so happy for her. She is got the second season of her Snapchat show, which she actually shot before the pandemic, and it's going to come out. She just like delivered it, and now I don't know when they're going to put it out, but I'm so happy for her. And if you haven't seen it, it's called Apocalypse Gold. So it is bizarrely, incredibly timely, and it's not about the pandemic, but it's obviously it's a show, a comedy version of an apocalypse, an alien apocalypse. So if you haven't seen it or heard about it, I'm telling you now, and go on Snapchat and find it. And they did first season, and they did so well. She's doing another one. And then she has another show coming out this Saturday. It's about the pandemic, and that is called Stir Crazy. So look for Stir Crazy on Saturday. I think there's Snapchat's going to put it out, and it's her and Sydney, her comedy partner, dealing with their feelings about the pandemic. So that's hilarious too. So anyway,
I'll check those out. Yeah, I mean, I grew up on the Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movie Stir Crazy, so it's funny it's got the same title.
I know, isn't it cute? It's very fun. So, yep. So that's going on there. So it's good.
Awesome. So I saw on Facebook several months ago that you were at a con and you met John Russo, who made Night of the Living Dead with George Romero. I never knew that you liked the Romero zombie movies. I love them.
Oh, yeah, they were amazing. I just have to say that it was just such an honor to meet John, because I've done a bunch of conventions, but I haven't been able to, I was never sitting next to him. It was never an opportunity to meet him, and he's such a cool guy. Have you ever interviewed him?
Yes, I did interview him. I interviewed him at a bad time, though. It was early in the morning. He was walking his dog. He was out of breath. I mean, he's 80 years old. I felt pretty bad for the guy.
Oh, you know what, though? He looks great. He looks great, Brady. I had no idea he was that old. I actually thought he was like, I don't know, 70 or something, in the 70s or whatever. But, yeah, he's quite awesome. And, what was going to say? Oh, convention-wise, yeah, I was going to mention also, I was supposed to go to Wisconsin for a convention, and that got canceled. And then I was supposed to go to Utah for a Better Off Dead Q&A, sort of like a TED Talk sort of thing, and that got canceled. And I have one in July that's supposed to be Eternal Con in Long Island. I don't know if that's going to happen. So there's a lot of conventions that I was supposed to do. But I'm hoping that I have in October, I'm going to do 80s in the Sand. And that's going to be going in Mexico, and that's the end of October. So we'll see. All of this is just, different things are being affected. So.
Yeah, I hope the 80s in the Sand thing happens for you again, because I know how much you love that.
Yeah, it's a great event, and I honestly, if it wasn't fun, I would not be there. It is a chance to go back in time. If you love the 80s, this is an experience that you will make your whole life. You will love it. It's not like on a ship, it's a vacation, and it's an adult resort, so you have food and drink and as much as you want whenever you want. And then every night they have the concerts, and the concerts are so people friendly. Like you can user friendly. You can talk to the entertainment and the rock bands, and it's just a very cozy, nice environment, and the people. I gotta give. Hands down, they're the nicest people at this convention. So I highly, highly recommend it. So that's why I'm going back. So we'll see. Hopefully I'm going back.
Yeah, I interviewed Robert Romanus just a couple hours before he left for the airport to go to 80s in the Sand last October, and he was just looking forward to it. He said he had fun the year before, and that he was looking forward to it again and stuff. And I made him laugh. I said, God, I can just imagine it being cold out there in October, November. And he laughed. He's like, no, it's pretty hot out there in October, November.
That's pretty funny. He's a great guy. And he was, he's going to be back, which is nice, which is really fun. And then Julia Montgomery's going to be there. And I think Amanda, she's going to be there this year with. And, oh, by the way, just a plug from Amanda. I don't know if you've seen this. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm planning to. Badlands on Netflix has a movie. The movie Badlands is out on Netflix. And supposedly it's like in the top 10 or the top 3rd popular thing on Netflix, I think. And Amanda's in it. So I'm very, very excited to see it. I just want to make that plug for her. She was the girl who I work with in Better Off Dead.
Beth. Yep.
So Beth is actually awesome. We are very, very dear friends.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get her on here, but she's like pretty much done with doing interviews and stuff. But I do like her a lot, and I see her at conventions every now and then, and she's always nice to me.
Yeah, she's really great. And I have to say, doing podcasts are, to me, I have a lot of fun, but I know that a lot of people who do them are, I don't know, maybe they just, it's exhausting, or they just don't feel like there's a lot to talk about. I don't know. But with Amanda, I just always have to plug her because she's a great actress. I don't know if you've seen The Id. I loved her in that film.
I heard it's good, yeah.
And we have a very, in a weird way, we have a similar kind of career because she has done comedies. Well, she did her Fast Center is Von High, and I did My Last American Virgin. Yeah. And then we both did Better Off Dead together, and then she did Freddy's Nightmare, and I did Amityville Part 2. Mm-hmm. And then she did The Id, and then I did Amityville Murders. So we're kind of having sort of parallel. Our careers are interesting because there's comedy, but there's also drama and horror.
Yeah, you were doing Terror Vision, and she was doing the unrelated St. Elsewhere.
Right, that's true. Remember Terror Vision? Oh my gosh, such a fun movie.
Yeah, I got that. I got that 3D poster at Dark Delicacies last year, and I was hoping I'd see you somewhere this year to get it signed because I love it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful poster.
Well, that's so cool. I've never seen a 3D poster of Terror Vision.
Oh, yeah. I think I know Mark Chavez. He makes all those 3D posters and sells them at Monsterpalooza. I wonder if that one's his. I'd have to ask him. I'd have to send him a picture and ask him. But, yeah, it's beautiful. And last week, I interviewed a stunt woman named Jean Coulter. She told me she did a stunt for Better Off Dead, but she doesn't remember if it was for you or somebody.
Did she wear a curly-haired wig?
I have no idea. She said she barely remembered that job.
sounds to me, because I'm thinking about, interesting, because, well, in a way, there wasn't a lot of stunt work on the film, but there was, like, stunt skiing. I know, like, there was a stunt worker. I mean, actually, what's funny about what you're saying, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot of stunt people that I didn't work with, but I'm probably going to find out soon, because I'm writing a book on Better Off Dead, and I'm going to be getting a lot of information from Savage Steve Holland, because I want this book, I'm planning on this book being sort of the quintessential Better Off Dead book, and I'm going to be putting a lot of fan photos of fans wearing my Better Off Dead coat in the book, and so I've been working on that as well, so I'll probably find out that answer to that, like who did what in the film from Savage. And I plan to hopefully have it done by the end of the year, before Christmas, but we'll see. So, so isn't that cool that we're going to have a Better Off Dead book, and I'll find out the answer to that. What is her name?
Jean Coulter.
Jean Coulter. Okay, I'll look for that and see if she's the one they had skiing, doing the ski routine down the hill. So.
Yeah, she was an amazing lady. That woman should have been dead 100 times on her whole career. She broke bones. I mean, she nearly lost half of her face when she was doing stunts for Dee Wallace and Cujo. I mean, she's had an amazing career, that woman, and she had a lovely disposition and a great sense of humor when I talked to her.
Wow, what an amazing life too. Yeah, I mean, you gotta give a huge amount of respect to people who do stunt work. That is, every time they do a stunt, they're not kidding. It is dangerous, Mm-hmm. And, I mean, sometimes there are stunts that have to be done for actors because the actor, if they do hurt themselves, they're not going to be able to do the work, the film. But, most of the time when a stunt person is brought in, it is for a reason that is, something that is absolutely life-threatening. So, every time you see a stunt in films, you should be like, wow, that wasn't just, special effects. That was, real life or death situations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I've interviewed a lot of stuntmen, including the man that Brad Pitt plays in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, wow. And what was that like? That's fascinating.
Oh, he was, he had some great stories. He was very insightful. And have you seen the movie?
Yes, I did, which was really great.
Yeah, the scene where, Charles Manson lets the air out of the tire and he hits him. That really did happen. It didn't happen as over the top as it does in the movie, of course, but they were always shooting westerns at Spawn Ranch in those days. And so he was shooting this one western. They told Charles Manson to leave because he was being disruptive on the set. And, he was just hanging out there doing nothing. And then he let the air out of Gary's tire, and so Gary told him, fix it, and he said no, so he hit him. It was real, and Quentin had a talk with him, like for a couple of days when Gary was down in L.A. for a few days, and he put it all in that script.
Oh, that's amazing. That is so amazing. I love that film. I really did. That was. I did you see it? Did you enjoy it as well?
I saw it twice in the theater, and I've watched it twice on Blu-ray since I've got it. I just adore it. To me, it's one of his masterpieces.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think it's very. I felt like it was very close to his heart. That's how it felt when I saw it. I mean, from an audience point of view. And there's something kind of funny about it. The actress Rebecca Gayheart, who played his ex-wife, that was John Ratchet's ex-wife, is that?
Yes.
What's interesting about that is that she is the actress that I was compared to with Brett Ratner. He had dated her, and she was. So because because of that, and he wrote this forward for my second book, I contacted her, and we became sort of Facebook friends, or like sort of kind of media friends. And so I was really happy to see her in that film when it came out. It was like, oh my gosh, like how strange the world is when you kind of like put yourself out there, and then, you know, people, we all affect each other's lives. And like my curly hair was sort of, I gave her like the opportunity when she had curly hair in the 90s, you know, to keep it going. And we had very similar looks. And it's just cool to see that in life, like the effect we have on each other's lives.
Yeah, I remember she was on this show that was on Lifetime Network. It was a women's cop show called The Division. And there was an episode that she was on where she's being picked up in a bar, and she says, by the way, I'm married, does that matter? And then it cut to them making out, knocking over everything on the table in the kitchen. It was so hilarious.
That's very funny.
Yeah, it was a good way to end the episode, too.
That's funny.
Yeah, she's a good actress. Yeah, I saw on IMDb you just did a Christmas comedy with a very high-profile cast.
Oh, yes. So this is a film that is called High Holiday, and I play this intolerant sort of Southern woman who, you know, you can probably hear from the title of the film that it's definitely High Holiday is referring to pot as opposed to the Jewish holiday.
Nice.
High Holiday. And I'm so excited for that film to come out, and I was so excited to see work. I actually didn't have a scene with her, but to see Jennifer Tilly again, who was with me working when we did a CBS pilot called Boom. And so I haven't seen her since then, and when I found out that she was in it, I came to the set and I saw her, and we talked a little bit about it and you know, reminisced, and it was just great after all these years of bonding with her. I saw them shoot a scene. Tom Arnold was there, and I did not see Cloris Leachman because she wasn't there the day that I was shooting, but oh my gosh, I just love her. I mean, she's such a iconic actress. I love Young Frankenstein, and there's just so many movies that she's done that are phenomenal. Wasn't she in like Mary Tyler Moore too? Am I wrong or no? I think she was.
Cloris Leachman, I think she, I think she was on the Mary Tyler Moore show sometimes, at least.
Yeah. But anyway, she's so that's a really cool film. Yeah, it's going to come out. My thought is they originally said it was going to come out this past Christmas, but because they didn't, I guess, make the date, my guess is that it will be next Christmas, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm so proud of you. You're going to be alongside this huge cast. Tom Arnold was in there, I saw.
Yes. Yeah, it's exciting. I didn't get to talk with him that much. I saw him work, but I didn't want to disturb him because he was in the zone, and I was like, okay, let him like stay and do his thing. But he's very cool. I mean, seemed like a really good guy, and it's just really exciting to work with so many different cool people. And I'm very grateful that I got hired to work and, you know, do like little bits here and there. And it's just amazing to be still acting. It's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're just busy. And I see the movie you did a couple of years ago, Waking Nightmare, is that going to hopefully come out this year?
Yes. You know, that is a good question. I know it's going to come out. I don't know if it'll be this year, especially because of the pandemic. The director contacted me and said that he was working on it, but that was before the pandemic hit. So who knows? That film I have a big, huge part, actually, and people are going to be shocked at my role, and it's something like you have never seen me do a part like this. So I'm very excited, just like I had with Amityville Murders. I am also really, really excited about Waking Nightmare because it is a tour de force part. And so we'll see what I'm doing. It's pretty cool. And then what's kind of strange, too, is that I did it before Amityville Murders, is bizarre.
Yeah.
It never used to be like that. As an actor, you did work and it came out within, usually came out pretty quick, I would say, a year the max. So it is kind of interesting when you do some films and they don't come out for years. So you're like, okay. And then I did another film. And this film is, I think they changed the name of the film to Angel with a Gun. And I know that the director's editing that right now. And that is kind of, like a action sort of, I was described as a film noir.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I love film noir.
yeah, I play a medium, and that is so much fun. That was such a fun role, to play a medium. So I can't wait for people to see that film as well.
Yeah, I love noir. I just interviewed this woman. Her name's Karen Hansberry. She's an authority on film noir. I mean, I brought up so many movies. She knew every single one of them. It was amazing. Yeah, we had a nice hour-long talk about film noir and stuff, and we were talking about how, film noir kind of ended in 1960 after like a 20-year or so, run of it, and there was so many movies being released year after year, and like 25 out of 35 were like film noirs.
Oh wow, it's incredible. Can you describe? I mean, I'm thinking like some of the audience may not know what film noir is.
A noir is, it's a crime film. It's got the name, I think, is derived from the French, I believe.
Well, noir is black. So there's, I mean, as far as I remember, there's always it's crime, but there's a stylistic aspect to it that is very, it's sort of narrative, like the telling sort of a tale of a story. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that proficient on it, but I would say that it's a very stylized film. I remember the black and white film noirs, so they don't necessarily have to be that way. And it's almost like this, I would have to say, stereotypical somewhat characters. There's the tough detective and the tough, there's always be like this tough, strong
criminal anti-heroes. Yeah.
But the female character that, she smokes a cigarette. And a lot of smoking of cigarettes, if I can remember.
Yeah. Just about all of them had cigarette smoking back when you could actually get away with that in film.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing that I love about movies is that, you always look at films and you say, well, that absolutely is like you can tell period because of the things that are happening in the movie. Like, for instance, even in television, I'm using a handheld phone. So well, that's got to be in the 80s because that's when they had those phones, whereas today we have the cell phones,
Yeah.
So, now when I watch something on TV, I go, or say, even I watch a commercial, I look at it and I go, oh, well, this was made before the pandemic because everyone's way too close to each other, or, they're not in Zoom, or, it's like, it's just, you can just start to tell, like, wow, or, that person's not wearing a face mask, so they're obviously, this was pre-recorded,
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah. I love all the old Bogart noirs and like Robert Mitchum and all those classics.
Mm-hmm.
They were all just brilliant. Oh, man. I just celebrated 10 years since I came out.
Really?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's funny. I think about how, what it could have been like if I kind of waited longer, because it seems like, especially with the younger millennials that are younger than me, it seems like it's easier for them to do that now. But when I did, it was slowly but surely starting to become a little bit easier and accepting,
And also, I would think, in a way, when you came out, was it easier? Was it harder? Like, your family, or was it harder to do with friends?
Surprisingly enough, it was harder to do with friends. Especially at that point in time, I was living the bar life, and I just started drinking, and I just didn't know who to trust, And when word got out to like guys I went to high school with, because I went to a school that had our city's name in the title, and I played football, and I dealt with a lot of alpha male BS during that.
If you're going to have any alpha male stuff, it's going to happen in the football world. So there you go.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. And I can remember this one. I remember I was texting somebody one night, and then I got a text from an unfamiliar number. And you know that scene in Pulp Fiction when Christopher Walken was talking to the kid, about the watch that was up his ass,
Yes.
Well, I got a picture sent to me of that, and it said something derogatory and stupid on it. And at the time, I was pretty upset about it. But I look back now, I actually think it's pretty funny now. But back then, I was very vulnerable when I saw that.
Yeah. Well, this is another thing. Like, just like I was talking about. I mean, it's so fascinating here because, just like I was saying, like in the '80s, like I had curly hair, and that wasn't accepted. And the minute I came to the '80s and I had this curly hair, all of a sudden, people who had curly hair were starting to let their hair show and be curly. That's such a mild example of just being who you are, okay, and different, and who you are. And it suddenly became in and popular, and then it was like, okay, now we associate the '80s with that, with being able to have curly hair. And then it became like, well, you can wear curly, you can wear straight, and we have products for it, and it's like, the choice. But now, like, and with being gay, it was like, nobody in the '80s, like, people were, in the '80s, I would have to say people were definitely coming out, but they weren't coming out, let's say, in high school. It was still like, no, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And it was still a rebellion. It was like, okay, I'm going to be gay, but like, that's just, I'm just going to have to fight it because I have my right to do that and to be that. And, but it wasn't just like accepted yet. It wasn't like, okay, and I know what happened, AIDS. So what happened is AIDS hit in the '80s, early '80s, and that was made everybody freak out and get scared. Like everyone got so scared and paranoid, and that was really, really so tragic for the LGBTQ community. Like it just took everybody backwards. So to me, when I've always had gay friends, so I was been like I hang with my gay friends. I love my gay friends, but it was like that's their life, that's their business, and that's their world, and everybody has their life, and be free to live your life, be who you are. It's the most important thing. And the one thing I have to say that I think is the hardest is the reason why I asked you about family or friends is because sometimes a lot of kids come out to their friends first because their parents or their family cannot accept it. And that, I think, is so hard when you can't come home as a child and have your parents accept you for who you are, no matter, what you are or who you are,
Yeah.
And I have a friend of ours who has a child who is transgender. And she got out of high school and is in college and now is experiencing that. So it's almost like when gay is more common now, but being trans is like, oh my gosh, like that's the big thing. So we're just trying to, it's amazing to me that all of this is such a big deal with so many people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just let people be who they are, and if that is happiness. If you are who you are yourself, then you will be happy. But if you are hiding it or hiding, that's where the sadness comes. That's where you said you were drinking. The drinking comes. All the problems that happen, happen because you're trying to hide, who you are. I mean, don't you feel like so relieved to be able to be who you are.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny. Ever since my car accident, I've been just focused on my next chapter and all this stuff, and I haven't been focused on anything else, but it feels so great to just not have that albatross over my head.
Yes, yes. I always say, it's the secrets that you have, it's the burden that you carry, and once you release those secrets, I mean, for whatever it is, they're never as bad as we think they are. And frankly, I mean, in a time where we have the internet, people can be pretty cruel, but we also have a choice of who to deal with. So if somebody isn't treating you well get away from them. If someone has bad energy, get away from them. Like, you don't have to deal with people. I guess the hardest thing is if you're in a job that has people who are cruel. Well, I mean, honestly, like, there's other jobs out there. There's so many other jobs. So don't take it. Get
Oh yeah.
peace. Have the guts to go out and find a happier existence, because there is.
Yeah, I still get, especially with this podcast, I get bullied by certain people, and I just block them, or I delete their comment, and I just, I do the hide user channel thing on YouTube or something, and it feels really good, and fortunately, these people are not stupid enough to make another account,
Right. Yeah. Well, to go out of your way to be miserable to someone, you got to believe that there's something going on with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're in denial and they don't want to be, like, why would anyone want to make the effort to put someone else down for their choice? We're all different people, separate people. We're all separate. And so, in a sense, like, if somebody says that means that you're hitting close to home to them, and maybe their whole thing is, just live in denial and be that, But I'm a true believer in, like, you have to be who you are. And honestly, I'm a very happy person because of that. I just connect to myself, and, sometimes, I don't know, I just think that is really the center of what brings happiness, not objects and, I don't know, that's success, is being who you are.
Yeah, here's a perfect example of that, too. A couple of years ago, I interviewed this guy who I did not know was an unsavory person at the time. And this other unsavory person whom he had a beef with trolled my podcast channel, just certain episodes and that episode with him and stuff, because I had interviewed him and everything. And, I was just like, hey, man, what's your problem, and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was saying all this stuff. And I ended up having to block him on social media and YouTube as well. And I found out he was going around telling people that he wrote a book about the Friday the 13th movies. And I've brought his name up to some people I know from the franchise, and they said, yeah, he's the ones who do know who he is. They're like, yeah, he's just some lonely, guy who's got some mental problems and stuff. But he's harmless. His bark is worse than his bite. And I was like, still, he's pretty annoying. I have to, put the kibosh on this,
Wow.
I mean, I feel bad for the guy, but that's just uncalled for.
Yeah. No, you know what? You can't let someone like that ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah.
And you need to. Someone's got to stop it. If you allow them to do that, then it's almost like sometimes if you don't say something about it, then people keep going. So you kind of have to sort of say, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. And you don't even have to take it that personally, but it's like, nope, stop it, just don't do this. So, well, I have to say, congratulations, 10 years, and I'm sure it's made a big difference in your life. Being able to be yourself. And do you have any when you're seeing? I'm just bringing that up because it's kind of a
Well, yes, I actually brought it up to you in email. I was seeing somebody at the time, but it's no longer now. It happened a couple days afterwards, and then it happened just right in time for this pandemic and stuff. And it's fine with me because I need to be focused on things and stuff. But we had a nice little run for a little bit, and so.
Okay, audience. So now you know he's free. Okay, so
yeah.
This is the Tinder account, right? Right.
I'm free. I don't have much. I don't have much to offer right now, but I'm free.
You have to have this long. It's going to have to be a long, a faraway relationship because of the pandemic. So it'll have to be, gloves and or Zoom relationship. You can't, get close. So.
Yeah.
You can ask many questions, though. That's the good part.
Yeah. I see you did a talk show recently.
A talk show. Let me think.
I saw you post it. Was it recently or was that old?
Maybe it was an older one. Maybe John. It was. I did the John Kerwin show years ago. But the fun part about John Kerwin, he is a huge fan of mine, and he was huge because he used to like the Reese's peanut butter commercial that I did in the 70s, which is you can find it on YouTube.
I've seen it. Yeah.
So if you like that, you can check out commercials. So I did a couple of commercials.
Yeah.
And so he loved that commercial. So when I got on the show, he said, well, I want to do a reenactment of that. So we did that, which was so funny. And he's a sweet, sweet guy. And what happened was originally his show, he had all kinds of entertainers on. And I was so excited that he invited me because that was like my first talk show. I'd never done one before. And and then his show changed because I think somebody bought it up, like whether Disney Channel bought it up or something. And then now he has to interview, or had to interview, a lot of young, up-and-coming sort of Disney performers. So like kids mostly. He had to do like on the talk show. So I feel for him because he really enjoyed having his adult guests, but now he has a different deal. He has to interview younger people. But he likes both. It's just really, it was a really great moment in time for me to be able to finally meet him and to be on his show. And I like talk shows. They're, you can tell I like to talk. So.
Yeah.
Not a secret.
Yeah. I mean, not many people do them anymore, because the podcast world has kind of taken it over. But, I used to watch Leno and Letterman and say, I'd love to be on this show, But then, of course, they retired and stuff. But, yeah, I mean, if someone, asked me to be on Conan O'Brien, I would jump the chance to do it. But, yeah, talk shows are pretty...
Times change, and we all have... That's another example. Talk shows are really trying to hold on and to that audience. And, it was so phenomenal to see the talk shows that are happening now during the pandemic where they're bringing people, these, hosts are bringing people to their homes and doing it right from their house with their kids on the couch, and they're talking about, what's going on in the world, and they haven't stopped doing the talk shows. And it's exciting because I never realized that they really did them. For some reason, I always thought that they taped them way, way, way in advance. So it's very exciting to see that the pandemic has caused the talk show hosts of the, I'm trying to think, Jimmy Fallon, but there was the other one. Oh my gosh, now my name is gone.
Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers.
Okay. Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
So, to see him talking about things in his house and just being that honest and real about how the world is really refreshing, and it's really great. And I think that, I was more interested in watching the shows because of how open they were about their experiences going through this pandemic. There's been some interesting things. Have you noticed, like even the commercials that say, you'll notice like an old commercial. I think it was the Miller beer, and it was a bar,
Huh.
dark into the lights. I don't know, did you see this one?
No.
So it's a dark bar with only this Miller sign there. I think it's Miller. And they say something like, well, there's a lot of unemployed people now from the coronavirus, and no one's getting their tips anymore. So we're donating money for tips, but if you want to donate, you can do it too. What is happening? Like, okay, yes, I get that, but like, are these people? How is it possible if people are going to get tips from this? And all the people who work at Miller, I don't know, is this a company? It's just very bizarre. Commercials are coming on the TV. Have you seen anything that you noticed as well?
I haven't noticed anything like that, no. But the way you described that, it sounded almost like a Super Bowl commercial.
I was like, what is happening? And then, of course, all the delivery services, like everything that says they don't deliver, now is saying that they deliver. Like Chick-fil-A is like, we deliver now,
Yeah.
Or, I know, so bizarre. What else did I see that was strange? Like,
Sounds like a conspiracy theory.
or cars being sold with zero down and no money down, and just come and get the car, and you can start paying like 6 months from now, and whoa, some really amazing deals on cars. What else did I see that was interesting? I don't know. The whole thing is just so fascinating to me, and I mean, I'm really fortunate that I, have a home that I can stay in and be warm, and we have food. I mean, just it's not a given. I just never take it for granted. I think, it's interesting. My parents were German and Austrian immigrants, and
Right.
they lived through the war. And so when I was a child, I was raised very frugally, I think. That's maybe a good way to describe it. And so when this hit, I went right into my childhood mode of knowing how to deal with stuff. So I didn't have a difficult time with the transition of it, or emotionally being sort of like, oh my gosh, we don't have this anymore. But it suddenly felt like, oh, I know what this is about. I really know what this is about. But I felt I feel so bad for people who are not, who have no home, and they don't have any place to go, and they're sick, and someone can't breathe. It's like it's not. It's just so sad. It's just really sad, and I wish that I had the means to help more people. And I'll tell you, if I did, I would, because it was really tragic.
Yeah, my mother and I, we lived that way for 4 years, just not too long ago. I can't believe, we've been stable again for almost 3.5 years now. It's a miracle,
It's a miracle. And there you go. That's what it is. And I love that you use that word.
Mm-hmm.
That is because miracles do happen. They really do. It's phenomenal. It happens if you come from a good place. You have to come from a good place, a grateful place, be humble, and you have to come from a place where you care about others. And I mean, I know I talk a lot about me, but honestly, I am a very shy person and a very humble person. I talk about me because I always feel like the one thing is that I want to bring back memories for people that they might enjoy. And so that's why I kind of make myself do it. I go, you know what? I'm going to put it out there because it's going to bring a smile to someone's face if I bring this up or show this photo. So I don't normally, talk about that, but it is part of my who I am, So
Yeah. I love it when you talk about you, and I'm sure you noticed too, I talk about me also, because I like to, influence people, because I've been through a lot.
And you know what? That's why I was really happy you said this to me and shared about your 10-year anniversary, because when we talk about things, it helps others, and we know people stop feeling alone, and I'll tell people some things. Maybe this is helpful. you always wonder, what are people doing during the quarantine? What are we, like, people are losing it, or they go crazy? So what I do is, like, I'll get up and, like, I eat with my husband. We have breakfast together. We try to have breakfast together, and then and then somewhere within the day, whether it's the morning or in the afternoon, we exercise. So either we'll, do an exercise thing we watch a video. I have a kickboxing one that I like to watch and do, or we do like about an hour of exercise. And sometimes we do it separate, sometimes we do it together. And then I'm editing, because I teach kids, and so I'm editing drama videos for kids. And it's ages, I teach K through 8, so I'm making these drama videos so that these kids can have something to do during the pandemic, that they can do acting, and they can act out their skills and their, try out drama, and these are kids that, it's not like kids who are exclusively drama kids. These are it's like a public school situation where they need some inspiration, and they need the ability to keep themselves active. So I created these videos, and so I've been working on them and creating them and editing them and instructing, and it's adorable. And so I'm really fortunate to be able to be doing that during a time when everybody is, struggling. We're all struggling with this condition. Kids are going through this too, and I'm trying to encourage them by saying, you don't have to just sit and be bored. Go online and learn things. Learn how to sing. Do singing, voice exercises every day. Do, practice dialect. Go learn about acting on the internet, Study characters. Watch films. There's so much to do if you want to be an actor, that the research you can do during this pandemic is phenomenal. You're going to get a lot better actors coming out of this time period if they know what they're doing and if they're focused. And then, we have a pet, and we take care of our pet, and then we, connect with our kids, and then just also, like, reflecting, and I'm writing my book, because I spend time writing my book, and then I also give podcasts like this, and then I also have gotten some fan mail, so I've answered fan mail for people, and then I've got a bunch of cool surprises, other things that I'm working on. So I keep busy, and then I watch the news, but I definitely do a lot during this time period, and clean the house. I do all that stuff too, laundry, and so I'm doing all the stuff in the home that everybody else does. But just trying to keep a positive attitude. Oh, and I also, one of the things that really helps is during this quarantine time is play music while you are during the day, like while you're cleaning or fixing things or whatever you're doing. Put music on, because it'll bring the energy and it'll bring a happier energy to your place, because silence can be very claustrophobic. So I think I want to make sure that people understand the influence music has. And if you play sad music, you may feel sad. If you may want to play something upbeat, I like funky music or 80s music, or I like or rap, or something upbeat, that contemporary upbeat music. So, play something that inspires you. And I just want to bring that up, because I want people to know that you will come out of this in a better way. Oh, and like my husband meditates. I don't meditate, but I do a lot of visualization during this time. So it's important to use your time constructively. It doesn't mean you have to be in a schedule as much as it does mean eat healthy, and my husband steams his head. Like, supposedly I heard, and this is all hearsay, if you steam your lungs, you have a hot water with some tea or lemon or something in it, and some kind of herb. You put a towel over your head and you inhale that, it will kill any of the coronavirus germs in your lungs. This is what was the last thing I heard, that you cannot live in lungs that where you're breathing in hot vapor. because it dies in heat. So if that helps anyone also, go for it.
Yeah, I've lost 25 pounds since I started this diet back in January. I had my physical last year, at the end of last year, and it wasn't very good.
Wait, let me give you some bravo for that. Woo, you lost 25 pounds. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm going back again in a couple of weeks. A little nervous though because I've been drinking way too much coffee. I mean, I don't put sugar in it, but I just hope that didn't make a difference to my blood sugar. You know.
No, I love coffee too. So I'm there with coffee and chocolate is my weakness. Yes, I did have some chocolate delivered because yes, I love chocolate.
Oh, we went to the store the week that quarantine started, and we got all this Easter candy because we know we're not going to be able to get it, you know, like this week or the weekend. So we got it right away.
So smart. That was brilliant.
That's good. That's going to be my moderation because I've just been completely off chocolate since the diet, so it's going to be a nice little treat. Yeah. What would you say, Diane, is your best personality trait?
Okay. You know, the first thing that comes to mind is patience.
Mm-hmm.
I have tremendous patience. Isn't that interesting? I have to say it's my best. It's one of those things that we can take for granted, but I think that if you're patient, things will happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to say, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I have whatever other things, but yeah. What do you think yours is?
My sense of empathy, and and if you remember, last time we talked, we were playing that secret silly game, and I added that question, "What's your best personality trait?" to the game, and I've told a lot of people since that I think that my sense of empathy is my best personality trait, and they've all said we agree because you're a good listener and you're just genuinely curious and interested in the person you're talking to. Your sense of humor would probably come in second because you are a very funny guy.
Yes, I think so. I do. But I think it's great that you realize the value of empathy. Mm-hmm. And that that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to say. And I think I agree. I agree with previous guests. You definitely have a lovely sense of empathy. And wow, we need it more in the world. So you're a lovely role model.
Oh, thanks. I don't consider myself a role model, but I'll take it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you know, I interviewed James Drury about 2 weeks before he passed. He just died on Monday.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, I feel like I have a sense of responsibility now to interview people who are older a lot more now and talk to them before they pass. Just yesterday, I messaged Grant Kramer from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. His mother is Terry Moore, the legendary actress, and I heard her do a podcast interview like a month ago, so I reached out to him and said, "Would your mother mind doing another podcast interview?" And he's like, "I'll ask her." And so we'll see what happens there. Back in January, I interviewed Marion Ross, you know, from Happy Days, and
yes.
she called me back 2 hours after that interview and said, "You are such a gentleman, and I just loved your questions, and I had just a wonderful time."
Well, you know who it would be great to ask, although I don't know if she'll do it because I've been trying to ask her questions as well, but I don't know if it might be too hard. Kim Darby.
Oh, yeah.
She's lovely. She's a lovely person. But you're right, you know. I mean, I think, you know, everything you never know. You just never know. So
I don't know how to get...
That care. It's just so wonderful that you care. That just make a difference. And you remember them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's so beautiful. So anyway, you should be asking. You shouldn't be talking to me. I've got some years to go. You got.
No, you're very.
Hopefully, I have to go. Unless coronavirus happens, whatever. So, but no, you should definitely so so many wonderful actresses. I love that you are reaching out. People need to be appreciated and remembered, especially today.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of people, doing what I'm doing. There's Gilbert Gottfried for the last 6 years. He's been doing a podcast where he interviews old Hollywood people. And he just did his 300th episode, and oh my God, he's had some legends on that show, including a couple people I got to interview too. And just more people need to do that so people can be remembered, because there are people out there today who are like, who's Marlon Brando?
I know. Oh my God, who's Robert Redford? Who's Paul Newman? Right?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So. Whew.
Yeah. Oh, before I forget, Diane, what color are your nails today?
Oh, there's no nail polish on them today. Today they're just plain. But it's actually good because I had so many different colored nails that I needed to give them some room to breathe. So they're very nicely manicured, but not with any color today. How about you?
I don't have a color yet. I'm contemplating one. A guest of mine this morning asked me if I had a color, and I didn't. So I'm like, I need to get on that, because spring is here, and I just been letting them breathe throughout the winter, just like you.
Yeah. See, this is funny. Last time we both had color on it, and now we are taking a little break. We're going au natural.
Yeah.
Pandemic. We're going with the natural times. We don't feel very flashy right now. We're more grounded, so we're not having nail polish at this point, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, with this pandemic going on and stuff, are there any possible projects that you know of that will happen, at least?
Well, so the only thing I'm going to say is, 80s in the Sand is supposed to come up. I'm supposed to go to Florida, maybe in October also, for a convention in October, and let's see if there's anything else. But, my biggest thing this year is hopefully, I'd like to get my book out, and I think that would be so exciting, because it's anybody who loves Better Off Dead is going to go crazy for this book. And I'm so excited because I've been interviewing all the people in the cast. I haven't gotten to John yet, but I've got all the the Paperboy and Amanda and Curtis and
Have you gotten Damian Slade?
Yeah, the Paperboy.
I just reached out to him. I was supposed to interview. You remember the first Paperboy in the movie, Yano? I can't remember his last name. He was in that Christmas Story. I was supposed to interview him, and then he got super busy during the month of December. Because it was a Christmas themed block I was doing that month. But I would like to interview Damian Slade. I hope I get to interview him.
Yeah. Oh, and tell him that we spoke. He's lovely. I'm really excited because I want to. That film, when people watch Better Off Dead, it's a really feel-good film. And people pass it on to their kids, and I just feel like for all of those people who love that film, I want to give them back something that they will be able to bring those memories back to their kids or whenever they want to feel good. So it'll be, I'm excited to have that done. So we'll see. But tell Damien that I said hi when you interview him.
If I get to, but I definitely will, And I had Kimmy on last October.
Oh, I love her. She's great.
She made me laugh out loud.
What?
She made me laugh out loud, that woman.
Oh, she's great. She was great.
Yeah, because I met her at my first Monsterpalooza, which you were at on Friday only, but I was only there on Sunday, and God, she was just cracking everybody up. That woman, she has no filter.
Yeah, no, and she is so funny and so talented, and I'm just really fortunate to have worked with her. We just had a great time.
Mm-hmm. Well, Diane, thank you so much for coming on for the 7th time.
Is it really? No, but is it really 7 times? I'm good. How many times do you think I've actually been on your show?
Yeah, about 7 times.
Oh my God! Listen, you need to get a lot of other people on the show. I'm taking way too much time.
I've had
This is a special pandemic episode.
I've had like I got like 2 people who have tied for like I think 6, but you hold the record. But like, oh yeah, I mean, God, I get so many people, it's insane.
So funny. That's really, really funny. Well, I'm honored. Okay, I'm number 1 in this list so far.
Yeah,
I'm winning.
you were my first guest, and you are number 1. But yeah, so stay safe, Diane, and wash your hands, clean out your belly button, all the essentials.
Yes, and by the way, also send your mother my love and tell her that I hope she stays safe as well. And, both of you just, stay safe. You're amazing, and thank you for having me on your show again.
Absolutely. She thinks the world of you. I will tell her. And I hope you have a happy Easter with your family. And tell Olivia I said hi. And have a great night over there. Okay, Diane?
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Love you, darling. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Diane Franklin. Ain't she a sweetheart? I just love Diane. She is the absolute best. I mean, she is a gem in the rough. I mean, she is the greatest lady that you could possibly ever want to have on your podcast or have in your corner, for that matter. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes. With one look, you read me like a book. Eyes wide, eyes tight. I can't remember the rest of the lyrics, but I want my $2.